Okay, perfect. So I'm Kim Story. I am a master certified life coach and a clinical therapist in the mental health world. I've been doing that for about 18 years. You can find me Facebook is Kim Story Coaching. My private Facebook group for my working moms out there who need to go from surviving to thriving is under the Working Mom Mindset Reset. Or if you go to Kim Story Coaching, you'll also find me there. You find me on Instagram, Kim Story Coaching, kind of the same theme. I kind of kept it consistent. So most social media outlets, that's where you're going to find me. So I look forward to having others join many other working moms out there in this journey of really trying to find a way to come up with your own unique, and I say unique and unapologetic mindset that works for you. Because that truly is where you're going to find the ability to thrive in life. We spend a lot of time doing many other things and juggling a lot of responsibilities, and we lose ourselves in that mission. So that's kind of where you'll find me, and how I got to that spot is I really, in my work, I've worked with women and families for a really long time. And even when I was kind of focused on children early in my career and mental health, it was the moms. The moms who are just like, I've got my kids who are struggling, and I'm trying to make time for my career, and I'm trying to also be a good, wife or a good partner. And I don't know how to do all of this. I don't know how to meet the demands of everything that's coming to me. So a lot of times I felt like my attention would be shifted back to the mom and trying to help her understand how to manage her child with mental health needs, but also keep herself sane at the same time. So that kind of spiraled into, where I really just started focusing more with women, not necessarily working moms at the time, a lot of women with trauma in their background. And then being a mom of 5, I've really kind of lived the journey along with thriving in my career in many different ways to kind of firsthand know what we need to do most to help ourselves. And it's really not that hard. It's a secret, but I'll share it with you here in a little bit.
Perfect. So mothers wear many hats. And I think they could all agree that they're a wife, they're a mother, and they're still trying to remember, many of them, right, who they were before they were these two things. But now they're trying to navigate and show the world that, hey, I'm all these things and then some. In other words, they're all Wonder Woman. Some are
Yes.
just as good, just as
Yes.
strong, and just as
Absolutely.
dedicated. So when you decided to work with women and do this, why did you start working with women in this way?
Mm-hmm. I really just the need. I mean, the need is so big out there. And I think it was more of, when I was transforming from just mental health counseling to life coaching, is that, there is the stigma out there about mental health, which is always something I'm trying to bring awareness to, but not everyone views themselves as, that I need therapy or I don't have time for therapy. Therapy makes me look like I'm weak and that I don't have all my stuff together. Therapist schedules may not be super flexible. I might have to wait a long period of time where, with coaching, my passion is I can give you a lot of information, a lot of resources, most importantly, encouragement, support, making it real, validating you where you are. And those are the skills you're going to need lifelong. And so it can be a very short window of time. And for me, it's always like work smarter, not harder. And so as I started to kind of formulate all of these, experiences of my own personal life, professional life, and how do I really help working moms knowing they are limited in time, they are limited in flexibility, they are juggling multiple tasks and hats. How do I give them the support that they need to not just live in survival mode? I mean, I think all of us have kind of been there and done that. It's not a fun place to be, but sometimes we don't think it can be any different. And so it was really when I figured out, it can be different. It can be as different as I want it to be. I was like, this is amazing. I need to share this with every working mom that I know so that they can experience this transition of motherhood with a career the same way that I have and hundreds of other ladies that I have worked with have been able to do, because it is inspiring. I always think this work for me is easy because I get to sit here and, watch women transform their lives and then sit back and go, that was amazing. And they had it in them the entire time. They just didn't know how to get access to it. So that's kind of, as my brain was kind of putting things together. I was like, working moms is where I connect the most, where I feel the most passionate about. It's, something that there's millions of us out there. There's no shortage. That's also for sure. And, in a lot of my research in mental health, they say 40% of working moms are diagnosed with anxiety and or depression. And my radar was like, I'm pretty sure it's like 99. It's just the other, 60%, 59% of us don't go in to get that help and support that we need, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And so shifting away from therapy into coaching seemed to kind of really help me have better access to way more working moms out there than I could as a therapist. We're limited based on licensure of what we can do in that space. So coaching was my way to help more working moms be more impactful and really give them the same transformation that I would with any working mom that I worked with.
We live in a time now where there's more women in the working environment than ever before, right? And as a result, we have women who are perhaps having children later on in life as a result. But you come along and you're like, ladies, you can do both perhaps at the same time. You just need a little bit of guidance, because maybe generations ago it was work, family, then so on. It was more of like a structure where you did one after the other. But many women these days are trying to do two or more at the same time, right? So what are some of the difficulties that the women face when they're trying to navigate between career woman, wife, mother? How do you help them with that?
Yeah. A lot of it comes down to, I take kind of women on a small little journey of self-exploration of their core beliefs. Like you said, a while back, my mom expected me to be a stay-at-home mom. Like, why would I do anything different? That's what moms do. And I was like, no, I have bigger, better dreams for myself. And it wasn't dismissive of those who stay at home. I just personally knew I wanted to work and be a mom. I wanted to do both. So I think some of the myths, that women struggle with is the time. How do there's only 24 hours in a day, where I say you get 24 hours in a day, right? You get 24 hours and you get to choose where you want to spend it. So going to that core beliefs of what's truly important, what's really meaningful to you, that's kind of where it starts. But, with that is, do I have to pause my career and miss out on advancement opportunities because I have young children, or we're in this phase of growing our family and I can't do too much, where I'm here to say, not with 100% guarantee because I'm not your employer, but you don't have to put it on pause. There are things that you can do to learn how to manage and navigate all of those tiny little intricacies that are in there to make it work for you. You can do that. Another thing that where the pain is at is, as a working mom, we often then not only just lose ourselves, but we become very disconnected from our spouses, our partners, our friends. it kind of becomes an isolated, lonely world out there, especially when our children are young, because we're not going anywhere. We're home, we're taking care of our babies. It's too much work and effort to like pack up everything. Paying for a babysitter is expensive. So we often just kind of conform to this space that there's not really a social life for me anymore. There's not really a world out there where I can coexist and do those things. And I'm here to say you can do those things, but it is a lot about really understanding what works within your means. Where I'll say real quick is most women, and again, that was me, very much judgmental, not of other people, but mostly ourselves, in that comparison mode where, look at that mom. Like, how does she do that? Right? Why can't I be that good? I'm not good enough. Right? And then we start, or if we're struggling in our career, and again, we get into that mode of self-talk that's defeating, it's doubting, it's not helpful. And again, that is a part of this transformation of really understanding what is your internal script? How do you help yourself there? So for a lot of moms, it's time, energy. Who am I at this point in my life? Did I sacrifice everything for my family, for my career, that I no longer get to be my own unique person? And then ultimately, it's just trying to balance it all. And again, I will never be a person who say it's easy, especially in the beginning phases of learning how to do this type of work for yourself. But once you get there, it's like anything else. It's a belief system. It's how you go about living your life, and it becomes instinctual. And therefore, you don't have to spend as much time and energy in that process.
You mentioned time, energy, and who am I? Right. And I like that because that could be applied to motherhood, fatherhood. It could be applied to so many different areas of our life. When you
Yes.
were on your journey, Kim, are these obstacles that you faced as you're trying to figure out who you are, how you're going to spend your time, and where you're going to get the energy to be all of these different types of people to so many different people?
Yeah, absolutely. All of them, probably plus 20 others that I couldn't find it. And so it probably was about 10 years ago. I was working in an environment that, in the mental health world, and it was a very high stress environment, but I was very passionate about the work. And so I thought, like, I just work harder, and like better outcomes for my clients. But I was on call 24/7. So just when I'd be, going to pick the kids up, yeah, I need you to come back in and deal with a crisis. Then my spouse is like, I never see you. I don't know where you are. And it was really hard for me to not be angry and to not be like, it's my work's fault. It's, my husband needs to figure this out. Like, he sees how busy I am. And, my kids, like, why are they so needy? Why do they need all of me? I don't have it. And then guilt. The guilt just overwhelmed me to a place that, even as a therapist, I didn't know what to do with it. It was eating me from the inside out. And so I did what, most people don't like to do. And I literally just said, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't live in this. Just the days are going by and I just feel like I'm existing in them. I have no idea what's happening on around me. I'm literally surviving. And this went on for probably a good 3, 4, 5 years before I kind of, experienced all the ups and downs, and like, again, trying all of these strategies, and I'm going to get a planner, and I'm going to ask for help, and I'm going to, voice my opinion with work, that I got to, set some boundaries, but then I'm so quick to say yes for the next thing that they ask me to do. And I said, hey, Kim, like, literally, you can't function like this anymore. You are no good. to your children. You are no good to your career. You are no good to your husband. You are no good to your friends, your family. Like you're losing all of the things that you work so hard at. Like it didn't make sense to me. And I had to sit in that for a while and came to the realization that I actually could do something about it, that it was me. And that's always the scariest thing when you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, shoot, like I'm the problem. And I am not really good at putting myself in spaces that help me to be successful. I'm continuing to find spaces that validate how awful this is. I'm continuing to say yes and not respect my no. I'm continuing to put time and energy into things that really don't have meaning for me. So why do I keep doing that? And that was when the transformation really hit home and the traction started. And again, I just became this whole, I won't say I'm this perfect person. I'm far from that, but I felt like I could do it because I was choosing where to put my time and energy. Like I said, if I wake up and I'm like, it's just another day, it's just going to go right by me and I don't know how I'm going to get it all done versus, hey, today's a different day. I know I have, I like my 8 hours. I got 16 hours to get everything done. And if I use that time in a manner that is helpful to me, I can at least feel good about it. I can celebrate small wins along the way, which again, if I'm not over here wasting my energy thinking about how much I'm failing and I'm putting that energy into the things that are actually going well and keep me motivated, it's a game changer. It literally makes a huge difference, something that small of thinking about how you look at what you do every single day. So I went through all of the lows to a place where I was about ready to quit my job, change the feel like I'm never working with people again. My children were, getting out of the toddler phases. I wasn't sure what that was going to look like. My relationship was very rocky at that time. And mostly just because I wasn't prioritizing. I thought I was prioritizing everything really well. I was a great multitasker. No, I wasn't. I was just trying to make things come together. I had no plan. It was just constantly trying to just stay afloat. And so that was kind of where I really had to recognize that within myself, I actually had the ability to control that. And that is, if anyone's experienced that, like an amazing feeling to know that you get to control the things that are within your control, and the things that you can't, you don't put all of your time and energy there. And so that was for me where it really just, I kind of had to get to that place where it was me, which wasn't easy, especially, being that working mom. That meant I had to kind of critique my work life, my motherly life, my relational life. And then again, I had no idea who I was at that time. I was just a person just trying to make it work. But that wasn't who I dreamt of being. That wasn't my intent when I started the journey of creating a family and trying to find a career that I was passionate about. And that was really defeating. That was depressing, thinking about like I spent a chunk of my life not enjoying any of it. And so that's kind of how I got here.
For those who are watching on Facebook, YouTube, and my social media, please continue to follow along, subscribe, like, and share this wonderful journey with Kim. And we will be back for